Hello to everyone, and welcome to today's meditation session provided by Studio B. We'd like to thank you for being here today. I'd just like to take a moment to give a brief introduction to our teacher today. Her name is Marije. You may have recognized her. She's been in our other calls as well, but she's going to be presenting our meditation today or instructing it. Marije is a former corporate lawyer from the Netherlands. She offers practices of traditional Hatha and Tibetan yoga with Taoist Yin yoga awareness of Qi flow and an emphasis on mindfulness in the Buddha Dharma. She has the ability to present complex concepts and an in-depth knowledge of yogic anatomy and philosophy in a simple and approachable way, for which she is loved by beginning and advanced practitioners alike. Today, Marije is going to present the revolutionary art of happiness. So again, thank you for joining us, and please enjoy our time together.
Thank you, Rachel, for that introduction, and welcome everyone. Again, I'm Marije. I would love to know where you are located, because I know you are such an international group, and I have seen some of you before when Sarah Jane was teaching, so I remember some of you. I'm in New Jersey, on the shore in the United States. So I'd love to hear. I know that Tomas is in Warsaw, Poland. And Gretchen is in Pennsylvania. Zach in Toronto, Canada. Nice, Ariel and great, and Clarksburg. Oh, I love it, Ariel. Remembered Sarah Jane asked us last time to also mention if you remember what the original territory or the people that originally lived on the territory that you know their name. Peter in Ghana. Wow, welcome. London. Great. Welcome again, everyone. So I gave myself a little bit of a challenge by announcing that I will teach you about the revolutionary art of happiness. 20 minutes is not a lot of time, so I'll do my best to give you an introduction to that idea. And some of you I know have already been meditating, so you may actually already have experienced that, you know, some sort of meditation practice or some sort of spiritual practice actually gives you this sense of radiance and joy. And if you have experienced that, you can just give a wave or a thumbs up if you have your screen off. And one of the things that I found from my meditation practice is that I have this a much stronger connection both with myself and as an extension to other people. And so I feel less isolated as just my individual being. And Sharon Salzberg, who is a wonderful meditation teacher, worded it so well. She said, freeing ourselves from the illusion of separation. So the illusion of the thought that we are not connected. The illusion of separation allows us to live in a natural freedom rather than be driven by preconceptions and our own boundaries and limitations. And so the Buddha described the spiritual path as a path that leads to freedom, because eventually any spiritual practice will give us that connection to the love that resides in our hearts. And there may be experiencing that at all deep down inside. It's there. And so spiritual practice, and specifically the mindfulness meditation, I can't. Gretchen, can you mute everyone, please? Also in working with distractions. But the Buddha described the spiritual path as a path that leads to freedom, a path that is a way of liberating the heart and to really tune into the love that resides within. And the suggestion is that continuous practice will give us a greater sense of that joy, our ability to be compassionate, our ability to experience love as an expression of pure acceptance of everything that is, rather than the type of love that is fed by desire. So it's not the kind of hallmark love like, you know, oh, I can't live without you. It's the love of, oh, I accept you as you are and I accept myself the way I am. And by extension, the more we are able to live in our own hearts and in that expression of that love that is not coming from desire but coming from acceptance, we are also able to accept our environment, our situation, the place that we're in as it is, without feeling so affected by it. And so even though we may now be in a challenging situation with the current pandemic and we wish that things were different, we can come to a place where that doesn't affect our experience of happiness that much. So of course, we may want things to be different at times, and yet our happiness is not dependent on what our outer circumstances look like, or which people are in our lives or are not in our lives, or if we have the perfect job or the perfect car or the perfect house. And so this happiness that is connected to that love that resides within is a sustainable happiness, because we have it with us all the time, no matter what is changing. And of course, life is changing all the time. So if we were dependent on our outer circumstances for being happy, then that would become really challenging. Now, this all sounds great, and now you may wonder, like, well, how am I going to practice that? How is my practice going to make me feel that way? And I would like to offer you a start with that. So feel free to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just gaze down at the specific spot in front of you or on the floor, depending on where you are. And just take a moment to notice where you are, the support of the chair or the ground, wherever you're sitting. Noticing your feet, if they're touching the ground. And allowing any sounds around you to be as they are. As you slowly allow yourself to come into this pause, this stillness, can you bring to mind a situation or a time where you feel that you did something really good? You did something that was helpful to others. Maybe you were caring for another person. Maybe you contributed something to your community. Whatever that was, something that was really an act of kindness. And if you can bring that to mind, if something comes up for you, can you tune into how that felt? What did it feel like to be kind, to be caring, to be helpful? And maybe nothing comes to mind, and that's all right too. And perhaps you could bring to mind something that you like about yourself, a trait that you have that you think is a good one. And also, in that case, can you sense what it feels like to connect with this goodness that you have inside of you? Does that feeling feel familiar, or is it something that needs to come from very far away? And then just in general, you probably have this desire to feel happy. And you have the right to be happy. So can you tune into that feeling of righteousness to feel happy and joyful? And if there's any little voice in your mind that feels that you don't have the right to be happy, can you perhaps just ask that voice to step aside for now? And tuning into what it feels like to allow yourself to be truly happy. Notice if that feeling has any effect on your physical body. And take a nice deep breath in and a full breath out. And you can slowly open your eyes if they were closed. And if you'd like, you can turn your screen on or keep it off if you prefer. And so this was just a taste of a practice to see what it feels like to remind yourself of your innate goodness. And I would love to hear if anyone is willing to share what your experience was like, or if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those too. Did you notice any shift in your body, in your state of mind? And if you don't feel like sharing, that's perfectly fine too. But just take a mental note, or even write it down if you like, just to remind yourself for another time. And then I wanted to guide you through another short practice, a more traditional way of practicing loving kindness in the Pali language, the language that the Buddha spoke. Loving kindness is called metta. You may have heard that word before, metta, M-E-T-T-A. And the practice of metta is one of the most powerful practices to allow us to connect with that inner goodness, our heart or self-love, and by extension, the love for others, and the reminder that we're all connected, that we're all one, and that there is no real separation other than our physical structures. And this practice is usually done by repeating inside your mind specific phrases that are wishing as well. So we will start with, our individual self, and then later on in the practice, you could also begin to wish this for others, and even those that you have some issues with. But for today, we'll just keep it to ourselves. So again, you're welcome to close your eyes if you like, or just sit still and focus on one point. And I'll share some phrases with you that you're welcome to repeat out loud or inside your mind, depending on where you are, and whatever is comfortable. And just these wishes of well-being towards yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free of fear. May I be at peace. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free of fear. May I be at peace. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free of fear. May I be at peace. Continue to repeat all or one of these phrases inside your mind for a few more moments. And then take another nice deep breath in and a complete breath out. And when you slowly open your eyes, notice if you feel any different right now. And again, if there's anyone that would like to share anything, or if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. So these phrases I shared are the traditional metta phrases. Nice, Allison says, so calming, great. And of course you can make up any phrase that works for you. As long as it's a phrase that's really eliciting some, enduring state of well-being. So not like, may I receive a new car, or, in another house. That's not really the practice here. And so if there are no other questions or comments, I'll conclude our session today. So you can continue on wherever you are. I hope this was helpful. I know that Sarah Jane is going to share another loving kindness practice with you in the Studio B portal. So be on the lookout for that, so you can continue to practice in this way if this resonated with you. And I thank you for your presence, and I wish you well. May you all be happy and free. Namaste.